absence at retail was accumulating to affect the business in whole. So we had all these little decisions around North Seattle, 10,000 people deciding, oh, I'll just stream it tonight. Oh, I'll just stream it tonight. And I'll go to the video store later. I'm not even aware that I'm taking money away from a local business, which is fine, except we might lose that local business. And is that okay with us as a society, that we're willing to make that choice? Because that's the choice we were making, and largely unknowingly. I mean, just people didn't know that was the choice they were making.
It's the end of an era. I thought, if I was going to grow up here, that my kids would be able to get a chance to go to the local video store. I spent my whole middle school coming up here.
We're sisters who have been coming to Reckless Video since we were 6 years old, so like 20 years. How many hours have I spent on the rug in this store looking through titles that I probably would never rent? Crazy, funny horror movies when we were teenagers.
We used to love to look at the horror section.
And also, specifically, in here, this very copy of the Moulin Rouge. I used to come and look at this little booklet before I was allowed to see the movie because I was younger than 13.
That's very scandalous.
And look at all the images of it.
Yeah, it's sad. I think physical media is going to be more important in the future because we're losing licenses through all these streaming services. You can't find things anymore, especially rare older films and things like that. I'll be I want to watch an old horror film from the 70s, and it's I can't find it anywhere online. So yeah, I mean, it sucks. It really does, and I hope I hope physical media can bounce back. I do.
Scorch was 2005. The Medallion was 2001. Blue Crush 2 was 2006. Another 48 Hours was 1988. Deuce Bigalow European Gigolo was 2003. Bulletproof was 1995. This is the remake of Red Dawn, so who knows when that came out. G.I. Joe Retaliation was 2017.
Whenever the emotions were tough, grabbing movies, talking to the people, and you wouldn't believe the amount of knowledge that their workers had, and it was just such a great community gathering spot.
You can feel that in there, and that's what Mike and all these amazing people who worked here over the years have done. What they've created is a community within a big city.
It's a rough start emotionally, and now I'm really pleased at the progress, the tone, the level of appreciation that is being shared and expressed, and people are finding a lot of great movies that they're going to take home and remember Reckless Video by.
My name is Mike Kelley, and I am or was the sole proprietor of Reckless Video.
13, 20.
Do you guys still do the Zoe Craptacular section?
I don't think I'm familiar. That might have gone
Zoe,
with
who was a
Zoe.
manager here for a long, long time, she had this section she called the Craptaculars.
Just some of the movies that I like to watch aren't even available on streaming services like this one. Kind of a rare horror movie.
You get to see things you don't normally see. I mean, even those streaming services, and you don't get to come and peruse and oh, I forgot about this, or here's some indie movie they did, I had no idea.
It's a loss of choice and selection to count on the online companies for content. I grew up with albums and the discipline of getting back up off the chair or from across the room to flip the album and play the second side or swap albums out. So there was this relationship to the medium that took a little bit of effort, and that created appreciation and some respect for it. I had to work for this music.
DVDs, I took them home. I feel like there's a sense of community behind these discs. Yeah. They're all well taken care of. They're not scratched up. And it's just a feel that you have.
I love straightening up the video store. I love checking if the DVD's in there and clicking it shut. That's I don't know, there's just something about it.
It's sort of like collecting books. You have your favorite titles you go back to, and so you always have the book on your bookshelf. And it's kind of a statement about who you are and what you like. that people who come visit your house can see.
You can come in here and you can look around and you can pick things up and you can talk about them, and you're more prompted to make a decision on something based on input from everybody.
When you collect things on streaming, you can always go back and watch them, but no one really knows that. It's like a secret about you.
What are we sacrificing? What did we have to give up in order to have that? It didn't have to be one or the other. The two could have coexisted, and perhaps they still will in some markets, but as an industry, it's already lost.
Unfortunately, I think a lot of viewing habits have changed so much that they won't even notice, except in, weird fits of nostalgia. Maybe on the skyline if we take down the sign or something, because that takes a lot away from the decor.
The families arrived to the parking lot or the curb, and the kids would get out and they'd just bounce up to the front door, leaving their parents behind because it was movie night. And to see that joy I think that's the part I'm going to miss the most.
Life as we knew it growing up, like our kids, the next generation, they're not going to know this. That's going to be a thing that people did in the old days, and they're not going to have that same joy.
I had a beautiful emotional breakdown the morning of the liquidation sale. I'm happy to tell you about it. It's just gorgeous. The morning of our liquidation sale, we had spent the last 3 days organizing the store, and that morning it was like Christmas. The store looked beautiful, and it's like, wow, what if we had done something like this 3 years ago? Would that have changed the culture of community and video store?
This is the closest I can get. And keeping them all in the cases, keeping the stickers on to just, hey, we got these titles at Reckless.
Reckless is a video store, and it says in the front, thank you for shopping retail. It says, the internet is not a neighborhood, Maple Leaf is. It's a place to go talk about movies with people. It's a place to watch movies, bond over movies. It's specifically, that's what it's there for. No chat room, there's a specific house just for that. And that's what I think of when I think of Reckless.
Why did you name this store Reckless Video?
That's a good question. There are two answers, but I'll just give one of them, and this is the real one. I thought of Star Wars, and when Luke visited Yoda in his cave, and he finally discovered Yoda, and they were talking about Jedi training, and during a frustrating moment for Luke, Yoda calls him reckless, and he says, "You are reckless." And I thought, that's a fun word. Reckless Video.
You just can't get that back once it's gone. Once this is gone,
it's kind of the end of an era of Seattle. It's kind of a turning point.
I don't even know how I would translate that to a young person who never experienced it.
We've been here a long time. I know people learn to kind of count on the store, even if they stopped coming here 5 years ago, which unfortunately too many people did. But it was still kind of a part of the emotional makeup of the community. I've received letters from people in their late 20s, early 30s who are starting families now, and they describe the difficulty of their own childhood, and being able to go to Reckless was a savior for them. And this, of course, completely invisible to me or my crew at the time, but this is what some people were actually going through, and Reckless was able to help. And literally, they gave credit to Reckless for getting them through their childhood, because nothing else was going right for them. And that's kind of hard to imagine, and yet these challenges and these kind of neglect was occurring, and we were an answer to that. There's a lot of value for the retail to succeed that digital doesn't replace in the same way. Certainly don't need to hire somebody to point and click on the TV. And that's part of the psychology of how we relate to things throughout our life, the quality of the stuff we have and the things we use. Now that Reckless is gone, it's like, well, one of the things that was nice about the video store, it's a happy business. There weren't really problems that people were having to solve other than to pick a movie. That's a pretty good day when that's your biggest problem.
Hi, David.
Oh, we're taking that one? Yeah. I like it. There's room.
Bye.